Duck legs, duck legs, duck legs, duck legs, duck legs.
So, welcome back, right?
Welcome back.
Duck legs.
The duck legs are back. The duck legs are back.
So, Jared and I must apologize to you.
Yes.
We had to take a bit of a hiatus. We gotta hit him up with what's coming up here, Jared. So,
What is coming up?
we got Dr. Mitch
Dr.
Babcock.
Mitch Babcock is on the show today. So, Mitch Babcock is a phenomenon. He's a beast. He's a monster.
He's a dog.
He's a dog. He's a goon. He's a goblin. But seriously, I remember going on Twitter for the first time, Instagram, Facebook, looking at PT students, and ain't none of y'all was saying shit. But if you don't know, we're walking in a maze.
Right.
So Mitch Babcock was one of the only physiotherapy students out there that was putting out content on the regular, and his content looked legit.
Yeah.
He's a fresh PT who has started his own cash-based clinic called Fitness TX out of Holly, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And to have the cojones to do that, straight out of PT school is amazing. And if you're a student out there and have a desire to open a cash-based clinic out of straight out of PT school, I mean, who's a better role model than Mitch? A lot of the podcast is you get to hear a young man talking about his dreams and how he's actively going out there and chasing his dreams. A lot of Gary V references.
When you get in the culture of physical therapy, when the people that are out there, when they're talking about like, hey, who's kind of like a next upcoming physio guy that's really making some waves?
Yeah.
It's Mitch Babcock.
I think Mitch, we talked about the fitness struggle that you never see people posting on Instagram or on social media, and he talks about that. He does a great job of describing that there needs to be more of your average gym goer hitting that double under for the first time. That should be more of a popular post than a random person killing a 300-pound snatch. The people with that are the only people that can put #fitness on their Instagram posts, right?
Yeah.
Like it should be a much broader community. Well, I hope you enjoy this episode. Mitch Babcock is currently the host of this week's Duck Legs podcast. The host, the guest. He's the guest. But essentially, he is the host too, because you'll be hearing a lot more of his voice than mine. There was some technical difficulties that happened about halfway through. We'll hear Daimir Jones.
Yeah.
Shout out to Daimir. He'll come in about halfway and tell you what's going on with the audio. So we'll be doing some bumpers and some drops to feed you in on what Mitch will be discussing. Freestyle. Hey.
You can't freestyle.
You can freestyle.
Like, we'll have to start. We'll have to. Not on the video. We'll have to start, like, you're gonna have to start giving me pointers on how to freestyle and how to set up, because my freestyles I end up talking about things that are just, you're like, whoa, how'd you
That's what freestyling is, though.
It's like, how'd you end up over here?
How'd you end up talking about the fall of the Soviet Union in your freestyle?
See, I wish I was that educated. It's like, how'd you end up, like, comparing yourself to being a little girl flying a kite? Yeah. It's like, I don't know, man. I just, like, said a word that rhymed with tight, and it was kite. Yeah. And then I tried to think about, like, being fresh.
Do you think that if we play, like, the freestyle rhyme game, like, there's a beat, and then somebody hands you, like, a card that says, cheese?
Bees.
And then you go from there.
Is that a thing? You just keep going?
Yeah, it's like...
Cheese, bees, knees.
You're doing your freestyle, and, like, so there's a beat going, and you're freestyling, and then somebody's like, all right, cheese, and you gotta go with that
hit
word.
It. Oh, God, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just destroyed.
You don't have to rhyme that word. You just have to, like, go with
Keep
that
going
topic
cheese,
or
like
something with that topic, like
stinky cheese and different types.
Loading up music. We like this style.
It's kind of one of those things. It's like the duck. You see a duck in the water, right? The duck looks like it's cool, but the duck's freaking working hard under the water. Wow, working hard. That's how our place is. We look cool, but we're working hard.
thank you so much again, Mitch, for being with me.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So first question, I'm going to have to ask you, any regrets on the career choice now?
Any regrets? Yeah, that's a double-edged sword right there. So I guess we'll get into muddy water right away, right? Why waste time? Okay. I love this profession, so don't misinterpret anything I'm saying. I love the degree that we have. I love the ability that we have with our license to be able to help people in a way that very few are able to do. That being said, for me personally, when I really narrow down and through the help of a lot of good mentors, we help with like this self-awareness piece, right? And in the masterminds, we work on that quite a bit as well. But when I really narrow down on like what my passion is and what I'm really here to do, and it's to help people pursue a new level of health and fitness, right? And so it's in its truest form about helping other people reach fitness, and not defined by society, but defined by their own standards and their own health. So then you ask the question, did you need a PT degree to do that? And quite honestly, no, you don't. Do you need $150,000 in debt to tag along, or $200,000, whatever it is, to people to tag along to be able to help people pursue fitness? No, you don't. I wouldn't take back my experience, because I've learned an immense amount in those 3 years of grad school. I've met some incredible people who I never would have had the opportunity to meet. And who knows, the doors that being a physical therapist is going to open. And so I have no regrets on that. But me personally, there's a lot of ways that I could have went about it. I don't regret my decision to do it. And I'm looking forward to kind of where it's going to go from there. But if I was just to be like, it's just naive,
I mean, and it's really the only way too, if you want to combine, I guess, if we want to use the term that it's very controversial, movement expert, and to be that proficient on injuries and know how to treat them, right? You got to kind of go that 100K debt route.
Yeah, that's really what took me there, man. I got a bachelor's in exercise science, and my pursuit was like, I just want more knowledge of the human body. I want to know more about how it works. And when people come to me with an issue, I want to have some solutions that I can help them provide. And so that's what really led me down the PT avenue, and it absolutely delivered on all those standards. The movement expert is a controversial one, and a hot button one for me too, because I so want our profession to. I want to say that with like the most conviction in my voice, that physical therapists are the movement experts. And when we just step back and really look at the large sample of how PT is being done right now, I don't think we can make that statement yet. I think we're moving in the right direction. I think we're the profession best suited for it, no doubt. But if you've ever stepped foot in any high performance center, any well-coached CrossFit gym, if you step foot in any of these facilities that have some coaches who have the best eye for movement and how to verbally cue, visually cue, demonstrate whatever it needs to be, fix that movement pattern immediately, you quickly kind of reevaluate that term movement expert, and can we really call ourselves that across as a profession? No doubt we study the movement system better than anyone. I think there's some things in play that could be polished up on to really take our profession to the next level and really be that movement expert.
Awesome. And I totally know what you mean, because I'm a beginner CrossFitter myself. Like soon after we had that phone call, I was like, I got to go check it out.
I got to get it.
Yeah, and like first couple of prep classes before I could actually start taking group CrossFit classes, it's like I was blown away by this great CrossFit gym here in Texas, CrossFit Austin, and the way they broke down the movement prep sessions. I felt like this is what PT school should be. Like just the way that they broke my analysis down of movement from balance testing to bilateral strength comparisons and all that stuff. It was like, and I've never been a physical therapy patient before, but I was like, man, I actually feel like I'm receiving some therapy,
Right.
But
and that's what that's CrossFit in its purest form and in its best form. That's what it should be. You know what I mean? Really taking the time to get to know the client that walked in the door, breaking down some of their stuff right away. Not, there's this stigma that everyone gets thrown in right away and they're all doing snatch complexes and hero wads. And that's just not the case. We're way more sophisticated in the last 10 to 15 years that it's been around now. that you should have some good onboarding. You know, you should have some good injury history being taken. All these things should be accounted for. And I think it's the best place for someone to enter in that fitness system. You know what I mean? If you're around some good coaches that can do that. And I think we're on the same page with, like, we almost wish that there was some of that component in PT schools, right? We wish there was some. If you've taken your level 1, and anyone that's listening has taken their level 1, you go through those 9 foundational movements and break them down, and you get in small groups, and you have a standard, and this is what we're looking for, and this is how we coach and correct. And that coaching piece is, I think, the large thing that, whether or not you like CrossFit or not, and there's a lot of great physios out there who don't like CrossFit, and I have tremendous respect for them, but what they agree on is coaching principles, right? Mm-hmm. The S&C, the NSCA book, like, you need to be a good coach in some avenue, and I think that's something that's going to have to get plugged in the DPT program, and if it doesn't, it'll have to be supplemental somehow, and it'll come about. There'll be ways to make that change.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's, and I've heard that statement made by Quinn Hennock from Clinical Athlete, and a lot of guys like that too.
Yeah, I love Quinn. He's got great stuff, man.
Totally. And I brought up that career decision because I know there is another potential career option for you as a singer. We all see your Snapchat stories, and,
oh man, my time in the car, you get lonely sometimes driving, man.
In the CrossFit gym, you're belting out Whitney Houston and stuff, right?
Yeah, man. See, listen, there's a lot of us that take this, we got this doctorate of PT degree, and we're like serious. Man, like, people are just real. You know what I mean? I like to have a great time. I like to, when I'm training, I like to have fun. I think fitness and exercise and movement, I think you should have fun, man. You should be around good people in a good class where you can just be yourself and rip a little Whitney Houston, throw it on the Snapchat,
Yeah.
I'm glad that the Snapchats disappear. People can't go look that up.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that a simple Google search of your name does pull up some video of somebody
there
singing.
Might be a YouTube, 1 or 2, yeah.
There might
Cannot
be.
confirm or deny.
Yeah, just gonna say, when somebody was doing their research may have come across that.
I cannot confirm or deny on some country music karaoke.
Yeah, hey.
I won't step away from it. I won't. I love my country. I love my country music.
Another video that I thought was awesome, besides the country music karaoke, was your graduation speech.
Thank you.
That was amazing. The way you just brought all of Twitter to your graduation.
Twitter's been instrumental, man. The last 3 years going through grad school, and I had a Twitter in undergrad, didn't use it, deleted it, and then somehow got picked back up in my first year of grad school and just started following some people in our profession. And I was just like I was a silent follower, I was watching the conversation unfold. I was seeing who had some good thoughts. And man, those first couple of years, like, all of my biases were challenged, like, on a nightly basis. It seems like Twitter would come alive, like, from like 7 to 10 or 11 p.m. Everyone's home from work and they dive in on the conversation. And I start following some really, really bright therapists and challenging all my biases in 140 characters. You know what I mean? And I'm just sitting here on the couch, just going, "What is going on?" And I'm following these threads, and then pretty soon I start sticking my toes in the water. I start, engaging in the conversation, and man, one thing led to another. Twitter takes me to a Jerry Durham conference in Chicago. I meet, some outstanding PTs there. Gene Chirac brought Sarah Haig, Sandy Hilton, Jerry Durham's conference, Andrew Rothschild, so it takes me there. And then that leads to another avenue. And that's ended up how I ended up joining Masterminds is talking with Gene there and getting in on Masterminds when it was early. And
awesome.
I tried to recruit a lot of my friends once I realized what it was. 3 years ago, there wasn't nearly as many people in the profession chatting on there. There was a lot still, but I was trying to get my friends on board. I'm like, listen, like, just open your Twitter up, just start following these people. They wouldn't listen, and as it's gone now, Twitter's it's big for PTs because I'm seeing all these new students all over the country. They're graduating 2019, and I'm like, they're getting in early, and I love how much that sphere has kind of evolved in the last few years, because I can't tell you how many doors it's opened. Even if you're just a silent follower like I was, if you get just like jump in the conversation, you don't have to be controversial. You don't have to come out with some grand thought that like I'm gonna shake the Twitter universe with this one. You know what I mean? Like I think sometimes that holds people back. Like this tweet's gonna be the one that gets retweeted as much as Jeff Moore. No, like you don't have to do that. You know, just jump on, communicate, be respectful, learn how to share ideas and communicate, and you'll be surprised where it takes you.
Yeah, I noticed that too because I was a silent follower for a long time and came across you, and then I'm reading your thread and you're engaging with everybody. I'm like, damn, that's awesome, and so slowly you begin to be like, you see a good comment thread and then you put like a little at Gene Schirockerbot or at Therapy Insiders and be like, something cute and witty. And it's like, I got my name out there. Look, I'm doing it.
I got a favorite. Here it goes.
Ooh, Ben Funk retweeted me.
So to bring it around to like the speech, like you asked about, it was really a way for me to one, say thanks to all the people that I had a chance to communicate with, you know what I mean, and all those little tweets of wisdom that they gave to me, and then also as a way to kind of pass it on to a lot of my classmates who may or may not have the opportunity to get in that network and communicate with all those people. And I wanted to just kind of maybe introduce it, maybe pass some things along to them, maybe one or two of those tweets from. And guys like Mike Ryman, Duke, you know what I mean? You got Kelly Starrett throwing a tweet on there, Jeff Moore's hopping on. So maybe one of those things was instrumental for him. That's kind of my direction that I hope to take it to, and got some good feedback from it. So I appreciate that, man. Really do.
Yeah, man. And I know Jerry Durham's talked about like just the benefits that we have with social media and with using all their knowledge that that Jerry said he didn't have coming out of PT school. And it's like we can catch up on like 5 years, of their experience in a matter of Twitter.
It's unreal, and it's to the point where I feel sorry for you if you're not utilizing it to some degree. You know what I mean? And it's tough. I get it because, when I built out my Facebook page, it was I remember, dude, it was like I was a big moment. Like, who am I to create a Facebook page? You know what I mean? I'm nobody, but you got to make a step where you're saying, okay, I'm going to build a brand that if I know my intent is good, and I'm not just trying to get famous here, I'm just trying to give myself a platform where I can share the information that I'm working so hard to attain. Like, it makes that step a little easier, and then you just build, right? You don't have to make this page and expect to be Kelly Starrett overnight. Just find a few people that your page is going to help and market to them. I think there was a Seth Godin, I heard him on a podcast talk about just like focus on helping 10 people, because we get caught up in trying to help 10,000. Mm-hmm. And if you can't help 10, you're never going to help 10,000 anyway, right? So why hold that barrier in front of yourself? Like, this is the moment where I'm going to help 1 million people. Help 10 and get some good feedback, build from there, maybe help 20, you know what I mean? So that helps a lot of young, like if you're kind of on the fence as well, like wanting to start a brand, I know I need to be using social media somehow, I'm not really sure how. I think that should be your main focus. Like, what is it that you really can help people with, and build yourself a platform where you can best share it with people.
Another thing to tag on that, I know you're a big fan of Gary Vee.
Gary
Vee. And he's always talking about documenting over creating. And that was big. That was a big chunk for me to take in. And related to that, yet again from the phone conversation with you, was, don't be afraid of the imposter syndrome of just, putting yourself out there and like, who am I? Who am I to have a Facebook page? Who am I to talk about thoracic extension? Right. But so don't be afraid of the imposter syndrome. Be bold, be confident, and just do it. Right? Just document yourself through the journey. You don't have to be out there and the expert just quite yet.
Yeah. That documenting piece is huge for myself and for a lot of people. It's like, what am I going to create? Like you said, who am I to create something? And man, one of the best videos per number of reshares is something that I shot. I went to the gym late one night and I was going to deadlift, and I was like, you know what? There needs to be a video on how to deadlift, just super basic. And it was a one take. I set my GoPro up, hit play, walked over to the barbell, and just like the most basic things that I could think to get out of my mouth in one take video, edit it a little fancy in iMovie, and the feedback I got on that was like, man, that was great, And here's something that I thought, from my own bias and perspective, that like I'm gonna get laughed out of the house by guys like Mark Bell,
Yeah.
Quinn Hennock. These guys are just going to like scoff at this video I'm putting out. But it's just the opposite, man. Like people are craving content in all shapes and forms. And I think because we're so niche based, we're so deep down the rabbit hole of this movement expert that we seek out like the newest thing that's gonna, that's right on the edge, the cutting edge of stuff. And we forget about that 30,000 foot view of where people really are and where our followers are really at and what they're looking for in a place to start. And something like a beginner how to deadlift video was the best thing that I could have put out at that time, I think, so just streamlining what creating content really means. Like don't make it too hard on yourself or what that creating content has to be. And then the documenting piece, man, like again, that shows the authenticity, which Gary talks about a ton. And it's so easy when the camera turns on, or you know what I mean? Well, okay, here I got to be this person, and I got to be funny, and I got to be witty, or I got to be super professional, and I got to use big words. It's like just allowing you to just document and just be exposed. It's like when I finally dove into CrossFit hardcore, I still do like the kipping motions, kipping pull-ups, kipping push-up, like handstand push-ups. Like we're all like just smoking me, you know what I mean? But like by documenting that makes you so much more real to people. It's like, okay, like they're real people. They struggle with everything just like the rest of us do. And yeah, we might have some knowledge and some skills to be able to help you on your journey, but like we're just documenting our journey just like you're documenting your journey, I think that's super relatable. I heard Gary Vee talk at the private practice section in 2015, and that was an electric speech that he gave. But it was at that, I'd been following him a little bit, but at that moment that I was like, I'm all in on this dude. Like he's got it. He knows what's going on.
That whole aspect of like Gary Vee's big on this as well. Like the fifth time mentioning his name already. When he was doing a shout out to Gary Vee, get a podcast interview with us. He was talking about fitness entrepreneurs, right? And also I'm going to relate this to a G chat on YouTube that you and Unchained Potential, I forget his name.
Billy Glowacki. Yep.
That y'all had about how nobody's really posting the fitness struggles. Everybody's like got their protein and their pose and their tights, right? Yeah,
the same every time, right? The same turn away. Yeah, and it is, man. It's no. I'll let you finish. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just saying that it's super intimidating to go on Instagram and everybody's got the kipping down. Everybody's got there's nobody struggling. Everybody's got it perfect. Everybody looks hot, right?
Yeah. They're already shredded.
Everybody's already shredded.
They're already vascular.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I get it, and that's one of the barriers to like when we sit back and scratch our heads and go, why are not more people exercising? Why can't we get more people in the door? Like look at the wall we're building. You know what I mean? Talk about Donald Trump. I'm like, man, look at the wall we're building in the fitness industry. Where if you're not jacked and shredded and squatting 500 and snatching PRs and this and that, like I can't even show up. No, man, that's the 1%ers, you know what I mean? And that's what we're failing. Like, stop documenting the 1%ers and start documenting the 99%, because it's 99% is where the change needs to be made. 99% is where we need to get people in the door, where we can have the biggest impact. Those 1%ers are doing fine. Trust me. They could coast on their fitness for a while and still be pretty good, We need the 99% and finding ways to document and showcase their journey and their struggle. Get the 55-year-old Tom who's showing up after work and like got his first double under. Like show that, because that's, if you've been in the gym when something like that happens, it's electric. They're screaming, coaches are screaming, everyone throws their jump ropes down and goes high. You know what I mean? Those are the really moments that are going to keep people around, or that's going to bring 55-year-old Tom's, coworker into the gym. Like it's not the dude who just went up 5 pounds on a snatch and still out snatches the house. And like, that's great, bro. Like you can have your Instagram, and I'm not bashing that. But I mean, I put up squat videos of my stuff too, because I'm documenting, but at the same time, like, let's not neglect, where the true progress is made for a lot of folks, and there needs to be more of that.
For sure, man.
I got a lot of problems with the fitness industry, but we won't dive into all that.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Adams, who's another co-host. As you can see, I have two co-hosts, but
Nice.
they could not make it for this one.
I scared them away. I don't know.
They were too intimidated, man.
My apologies.
They were intimidated by your kipping and your handstands and all that stuff.
My singing. It was for sure the singing.
That was probably it. Yeah, and I thought you and Billy did a great job breaking down the aesthetics fitness complex versus what it should be. And one last thing on the fitness industry, I think you probably kind of answered it. It seems like they're not serving who they could be serving.
Well, just to go along with that, because I think it's not just that they're not serving who they should be. They're almost dragging our industry through the mud a little bit, and that's what I get most upset about, because now when I say that if I say I'm a fitness coach, or if I even say the word fitness, I don't want to say certain individuals have tarnished it to a degree where it immediately brings up images of the mirror pic with the blender body. Exactly, man. They're like the quarter in a way, like underwear pulled down too low, that's like that word immediately triggers that response in a lot of people. And it should why I'm so gung ho about CrossFit. And, I should mention disclosure wise that if you hear me talk about CrossFit now, you would think that I've been a fanboy since its creation. And just the opposite is true. I first found CrossFit when I was getting my bachelor's of exercise science degree, and a few people were doing it at the fitness center. And I scoffed at it, because when you're studying the NSCA text and you're learning about periodization and specialization in sport training, and then you look at these, randomization is best and this and that, and we're going to heavyweight and then we're going to run. It was just like, it didn't blend with my dogma at the time, right? Yeah. And I didn't realize I had a dogma. And so I scoffed at CrossFit for a number of years. I thought there were better ways, because my mindset was about building muscle. There's better ways to build muscle, like you guys are doing it wrong. And I was so narrow-minded as to what the big picture was. And it was actually Kelly Starrett, and that's why I guess I'm so indebted to him, is that during my first year when I came across his stuff, that he started opening my eyes to CrossFit. He said something about there's people out there still doing, chest flies at the cable column. And I was like, I just did those today, man. Wait a second. Those aren't cool anymore? Like, what happened? I missed that boat. And then it was like wheels started turning. Like, is that really what it's about? Just building bigger pecs? Is that because if you've done this training long enough, if it jives with what you want to do, then great. But if you've done it long enough, you'll know that you get burned out. It's like, I can't hit another Monday chest day again. I'm going to, I just can't do it. And, it was at that point that wheels started turning, and I started diving into CrossFit, and it's been all hands on deck in probably the last year or so. But going back around to my point here, and I'll tie that together, is why I'm so convinced on CrossFit is because they've redefined fitness the way I've always felt it should have been. You know what I mean? It's the truest extension of health. And all you have to do, if you're unfamiliar and you're listening right now, and just type in on YouTube, Greg Glassman, the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum. And he breaks it down, and that makes so much total sense that any physical metric, any health metric that we can document and track is going to fall somewhere in this continuum from sickness to wellness to fitness. And when we say we're pursuing fitness, or we say that we're fitness professionals, what we really should be saying is that we're striving for the ultimate level of health and human beings that we possibly can. And that's not a mirror pick with good lighting and a protein shake and trying to get sponsorships on Instagram.
It's not.
That's about no, man. We're missing it. Like it should be the purest extent of health, and then what that health and what that fitness grants people, what it allows them to do after the fact. You know what I mean? It's not just about the training. It's about now you can get up and off the floor and play with your grandkids when you're 65 years old. You know what I mean? Like that's. And I hate to sound cliche or something, but at the end of the day, if you're intelligent at all and sophisticated at all in this profession, you understand that that's what it's all about. And so why are we not on board with something that, I'm on board with fitness because that's what it can deliver, the purest extension of health.
So you're saying whey protein product placement isn't the true extension of health?
So what I'm saying is I'm about to go take a picture in the bathroom right now.
Okay, cool. I'll let
just
you
to get
go.
more followers.
If you need to go do that,
Yeah.
hey, feel free, man.
Yeah, high noon's the best lighting. I need to get to that.
That's true, man.
I can joke about this because I did a physique show, what is it, a year ago now. So, I did it, if I'm making fun of anybody, I'm making fun of myself. So, don't misinterpret me on that.
And I remember you said on that phone call again that I'm referencing, listeners out there, please, if you have the chance to get on the phone with Mitch, very worth your while.
Appreciate that, man. It was a good chat.
Yeah, man. But you said you were in the best. You've looked the best you ever did, and right after that, you tried CrossFit, and it's a little different story.
Got smoked.
Man,
I was I prepped for 20 weeks for a physique competition. I was probably, any exercise science junkies know that it's pretty hard to get below 5. I was probably right at 5% body fat or just below. Felt on top of the world aesthetically, right? Looking in the mirror, right? This is awesome. And then it was at that time I was already thinking about my transition to CrossFit. And so post show, I started doing some CrossFit-ish things, or CrossFitty things, as some people would say. And just wrecked, man. Like I couldn't go run a mile. I was doing a bunch of sprint training for fat loss. So I was fast again, but like, don't test my endurance capability, or, you know what I mean? Like, like in periodization, don't hit me with a volume block on squats, because I might pass out or I might volume. Yep. I just came out of a real heavy strength block, so I can hit threes, no problem, baby. I got those. It just didn't make sense, man. Like, it's like everyone's like, you're so fit, but like, yeah, well, don't make me run a mile, because, and then they're looking at you going, well, I thought this was fitness. I thought you were fitness because you look a certain way. What do you mean you can't run a mile? What do you mean you can't do this work? Mitch, I need somebody to help me cut wood for 2 hours. Am I going to get gassed? I don't know. I'm not really sure, So when those things just don't start adding up, and if you're objective enough and you can step back and say, was this it? Is this what I worked 20 weeks plus or minus all the time before that? My diet, I feel like garbage. All I want to do is eat some carbohydrates, or whatever it may be. I want some ice cream, man. Like, I'm an ice cream junkie, but it just didn't add up to me. And I guess when you really start to redefine the term and realize that it's not about aesthetics, and you realize it's about your work capacity as a human, across many different domains and platforms, and whatever the task may be, how good can you get it done? It's a lot more fun to train that way, and the results take care of themselves.
Awesome.
All you gotta do is turn on the CrossFit games. They were just on, and you'll see guys that are back squatting 500-600 pounds. They can run a sub 6 mile. So where's your dogma on all that? Like, things that you thought maybe weren't possible, they're getting shattered daily. Guys that can Rich Froning snatches 300 in nanos, flat tenor shoes, throws 300 pounds over his head. So, and he's diced, like, you know what I mean? So, like, if you just pursue the aesthetic, you're going to miss out on all those other components. If you pursue all those other components, the aesthetic takes care of itself. And if that's, if what you really care about is looking good naked in the mirror, which a lot of people do, and awesome, like we all do to some degree, like, don't make that your priority, because if you do, you're going to miss the mark on a lot of things.
Hey guys, it is Damier Jones here, and I am excited to join the Duck Legs podcast. Right now, I'm going to give you a little small glimpse into why I joined the podcast, and also speak on some other things as well. I joined the podcast because I'm excited about what Tyler and Jared have going on. You have 2 great PT students. We're going to do some awesome things, and thank you for taking a listen to us. I am a student at South College in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it's a hybrid program, and I am excited about being there. Right now, we are having small technical difficulties, and we're going to be dropping in throughout the episode to let you know exactly what we're asking Mitch on this episode. Mitch is right now telling us about his journey as a student into owning his own practice as a cash-based business owner inside of a CrossFit gym in Holly, Michigan. Shout out to the Wolverines. He is also avid about prehab, or the ability to treat athletes before a major injury. Go ahead and take a listen. Thank you.
So, I just graduated in the fall, late August, University of Michigan, and I am starting my own cash pay physical therapy practice in Michigan. I'm at a CrossFit gym mid-Michigan in the Holly area. So if you're familiar with Michigan at all, it's around the Fenton area. But I'm coaching some CrossFit, doing some cash pay treatment, and making my focus fitness. You know what I mean? And when I say I service that market, that's not to be inclusive. That's not to be exclusive to everyone else. What I really say is, like, listen, like I said, I'm putting all my chips in on the truest definition of fitness, and I can spell that out for you if you want to. I service that market to keep people fit and also when you're looking to start your fitness journey, you know what I mean? I'm here to help you along with that way, right? So that, I think that brings everyone in, because if we're really playing the long game like we should, we know it's about your time exercising and training. We know it's about your journey to pursuing fitness and health. You need someone to coach you on that journey, to help you stay in that journey, make sure you don't fall off that journey for injury, whatever it may be, rehab, performance, all of that kind of fits in that niche. And I guess my biggest, and not beef, but if you hear the conversation long enough, and especially Twitter's one way to doing it, and with our profession, is we talk a lot about wanting to get ahead, right? Like, it's like we wish we could see these people sooner. We wish we could this. We wish we could that. And to me, it looks like, and I'm naive in the sense that I just haven't been out in the market long enough, right? I haven't been out in the shop putting the work in like some of these other vets have, But from my perspective, it's like we're standing at the bottom of the mountain, catching all the runoff, going, man, if we could just climb to the top of the mountain, and no one's willing to do it, Get ahead of it. If you want to catch things earlier, go to where you can catch them earlier, right? Stop sitting in a rehabilitative clinic waiting for a patient to walk in who doesn't even identify themselves as a patient and is already broken by the time they're force fed into your system. Like what do you mean it doesn't make sense? What do you mean you can't market to people ahead of the curve? I'm telling you right now, the people I work with do not see themselves as injured. They do not see themselves as broken. Which they shouldn't see themselves as broken, and they don't see themselves as patients, man. They're going to train whether you help them or not. They're going to push through all the crap because humans can, and they're robust and they can get by, man. But you know what? That doesn't mean that they can't be performing better. That doesn't mean that they can be in less pain. You know what I mean? And so when you just get in that scene and spin that so it makes sense, it's like, hey, there are ways to clean a lot of this up or to solve some of these issues, and you can move and feel and perform a lot better in the meantime. Then you can really start tapping in the market. That's just what it seems to me at this point in time. And so that's what I'm betting all in on, it's risky. It's everyone wants to sit back and talk about new grads starting cash pay or whatever, but I just don't want to have that conversation. You know what I mean? I want to execute. And I've spent the last 3 years in grad school waiting for a time to go out and execute. And Gary talks about the hustle, and I've just been chomping at the bit to go hustle for something. So that's where I'm at. I'm in the Michigan scene and working on my fitness and everybody else's fitness.
I also talked to Mitch about why cash-based PT works and why more people should be embracing it.
And it's not for everybody. I absolutely, you can't sit here and say that all PT is going to go cash. But to think that people won't pay cash for a service is ridiculous, because every other industry in the world exists on that model. It's a hard sell because people are so used to, when they hear healthcare, think insurance and think I don't pay for anything. And so now people are saying, what do you mean a copay? Even a $20 copay is catching people off guard because they're just not used to that, especially when you enter the healthcare model. Now, my opinion, remove yourself from the healthcare model, remove yourself from looking like a doctor's office with a lobby and the magazine sitting there and a receptionist behind the desk, and it suddenly doesn't feel so much like I'm in a doctor's office. It doesn't feel like my insurance is going to pay for everything. It feels like one more service that if you'll pay $100 an hour for shitty personal training 3 times a week, what do you mean you won't pay $100 for a visit for somebody that can guarantee you some results in your movement performance and pain reduction? To think that wouldn't work is I don't know. I don't know how to best phrase it. I just don't agree, So that's my sense. But you got to deliver, right? You can't just say like, this is what I charge, I'm cash, I'm worthy of it, and then not speak the language, not move the way they move, not look like you live the lifestyle, not deliver on, expectations and outcomes. Those still matter, not really assessing what's important to the patient in front of you, not just cleaning up a squat because you think their squat should look better, but like why is it that you're seeking help? Let me be someone that can help you achieve that goal. You still have to deliver. Like Jeff Moore says, like, when the rubber meets the road, you got to have the skills, baby. You got to have the skills, Like, do you have them? Can you make it happen? you know, I'm not sitting here in arrogance thinking I do. I want to give it a shot, you know?
Here's Mitch on the role that he's playing not being the traditional PT. He talks about blazing his own path and the difficult decision between taking a easy, high-paying job right off the get-go versus bearing down and embracing that hustle of running your own clinic.
You know, we got a common theme of this conversation going back to Gary Vee. He wants to build the biggest building in town, not by tearing all the other buildings down, but just flat out build the biggest building, you know? And I don't think sometimes people are like, I do cash pay PT because I'm better than insurance based. And that's not what we're saying at all. Like, I 100% agree that there is a place and a patient demographic for all these clinics to coexist. I'm just saying, I think there's a market that needs to be serviced. I'm going to go out and service those people. And I'm going to do it in my own way. And it might not be the PT of traditional, but you know what? I like not being the PT of traditional. I like kind of blazing my own path, and maybe that's the millennial in us. I'm just hungry for that, I guess. Yeah. Dude, it's tough. It's really, really tough because, you know, I got a lot of friends coming out of school and they take great jobs. They're paying great money. You know what I mean? And they're starting their lives. And for the longest time that bugged me because when you're in grad school, and a lot of people can relate to this, 24, 25, 26, you know, all your other friends have gotten out of school at 21, you know, picked up good jobs. They've already been living the life, and it can start to wear on you, right? It's like, I'm still the dude in school, still, you know, scraping by. And so when you get that license, which is almost like a right to go, I don't know, be an adult, right? Like to go out there and start doing some stuff, you know, there's a lot of draw and attraction to that, you know, and I have to stay rooted in the fact that I know what I know, and I believe in what I believe in, and I know that there's a market for it. And so I'm just gonna put my nose down and go for it, I guess. I mean, absolutely, dude. I mean, you can't not, you know, especially when somebody's willing to wave a carrot in front of your face. Like, it's just human nature to start looking at that. And you know, there are no failures. You only learn lessons, right? And so if this was to not pan out, if this was to not be the right direction for me, and I had to supplement and get a job at, you know, somewhere where that, you know what I mean? Like, I would do that, but that's not to say that I'm going to pivot from what I believe. I still believe in what I believe. I just find another way to make it happen, another place, another model, whatever I need to work out. And so I'm not here saying never on any of that stuff. And I'm not trying to bash anyone for doing that. You know, I totally understand, and that's what's right for them. And they have different passions and interests and directions than I have. So, I tried getting, you know, in grad school, when you get really passionate about something, you want everybody to believe it like you believe it. You know, this is the way, and you gotta be, and you realize really quickly, one way or another, you're gonna crash your head into the wall. Everybody's gonna hate you, or you're just gonna realize that like they don't care about what you care about, and that's okay. You know, it's not. It doesn't make them less of a PT. That doesn't make them any. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna be a great physical therapist and deliver good care. They don't have to have ambitions in the direction that you have, and that's what you have to learn to accept, I guess.
Here we talk to Mitch about his badass brand, Unchained Physio, and the journey he had from building that brand as a physiotherapy student to now marketing himself as a physiotherapist. He also has some advice for students looking to brand themselves and how he goes about creating his content. Also more on Whitney Houston and thoracic extension, and why those two go so great together.
Well, man, I appreciate the ego stroke there. I'll, you know, it's the same. I still feel the same way when I'm following other people who were a couple steps ahead of me. You know, I still feel the same when I get to chat with them. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm following this dude's stuff for a long time, but I don't think anybody's sitting around thinking we got it made. You know, I for sure don't. You know, I'm just another dude out there trying to be a user and trying to put things out that are going to help people, I guess. And Unchained Physio kind of, you know, my best friend and business partner started the Unchained Potential, and a lot of people ask me, you know, what is it? It's an online coaching service, programming, and nutrition for athletes, you know, in the best I can summarize it. And you know, he started from the ground up, with a small client base, and he's worked to a pretty decent client base and monthly subscription kind of on programming, but doing it the right way, providing people the right information and the right tools to be successful in their fitness journey. And so, being so close with that and that business kind of spun the Unchained Physio name. And it was just a label that I could put on my stuff, a way to find me on Instagram or something. And I guess if you push long enough, people will have to start taking notice. I guess they can't shove your stuff away long enough. But yeah, if I could give any advice, it's just and we've touched on it here, it's the consistency. It's just document over create. If you can create, make it, don't make it too hard, don't make it too complex, and be authentic, because your stuff's going to look different than my stuff. And like, it should, it really should. Like I'm not you, so like, I want to see your spin on some things. I want to see, your perspectives and your past experiences playing into what you're putting out. And the same for everybody else. I think it's easy to say, I can't do it like they do it. And so you shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to sing a little Whitney Houston and then post a video on thoracic extension. Like, that's just, I'm just trying to be me. And if what I want most is that when my friends, my closest friends from back home, they say I watched a video, I don't want them being like, who's that dude? It should be you. It's you closest. It should be you coming through that video. And all you're doing is spin it in a way that's going to help some people. Again, make it small, make your impact easy. And that's what I still try to do. It's funny to hear you say that, because I've sat here and thought that about other people, and I still think that about other people. And so I don't put myself on that level by any means. I'm just I'm right there with you guys. We're all just stepping forward. I appreciate it, but I really do.
And finally, Mitch talks about the future of physiotherapy, how web-based services can be integrated in the future, and also the importance of doing the right thing over everything. Right thing over everything. So, I went really New York on that, didn't I, Tyler?
Good.
Thank you.
I wasn't expecting. You're usually so Louisiana. You're usually so Baton Rouge,
What's the Louisiana accent?
Yo, Baton Rouge.
Slightly offensive, but we'll take it. So yeah,
I like what he said with doing the right thing. It gives you a bit of confidence when you're performing what you think. You say, hey, listen, am I trying to make a difference? Have I done a little bit of research? And then go, right? Yeah. That's the best you can do.
To some degree, there's definitely a push in legislation for obviously web-based treatments and a lot of different avenues for that, like the Uber of PT, right, or all these different things. But I think it's easy to pigeonhole ourselves to just saying rehab. Like, how do we do rehab based? And man, just don't forget that we have a skill set that doesn't have to be only in the PT realm, right? So, and that's kind of where I'm taking things, is like, yes, yes, we went to school, we got this degree, got this knowledge base, have these experiences, but how does it play into another market? How does it play into another niche that I can service? And maybe that's kind of how it can be marketed and served to people in the internet form, right? The online based format. And so I guess, without giving away too much, I guess that's kind of the direction that I'm going, just using my experience, the niche that I'm in with CrossFitters, and just seeing how my skills best service them, and I can provide a service to them. And if that service is best provided online, and I still believe that it's a quality product, and they're getting better in one way or another, whether that's pain or performance or whatever it may be, then I can sleep well at night. So, one of the we're going to drop another Gary Vee, but one of my favorite lines, and I just put it on Twitter the other night, is doing the right thing is always the right thing, So if you know in your heart that your intent is well and you're doing the right thing, and man, a lot of us could have made a lot of money, sold out, and, marketed some product that we don't believe in, and sold some BS and posed in the mirror. That's right, man. We could have sold out a long time ago and took that route, but I firmly believe in my heart that doing the right thing for people will win out in the long run. So that's what I'm betting on.
Whew, thanks, you made it through almost of the podcast. We really greatly appreciate you, and you know what? We fucking love you for hanging in there. please share the podcast and share the love. Hit us up if you want to talk about anything or host a podcast or be interviewed on a podcast. Dr. Mitch Babcock, finally on some plugs. He tells us bye and gives love to everybody that makes and listens to podcasts like you are doing right now, and we love you for it. Peace.
Well, I appreciate that. You broke up for me. I missed the middle of what you said, but I'm confident it was all awesome. Yeah, if I could, man, just like, shout out to everyone who's putting in the effort listening to these podcasts. Shout out to you guys who are making them, because not too long ago there was only a few. There's a ton more now, and if you're even doing enough to download and listen on your drive to school or on your run, you're doing a lot more than a lot of other people. So that's from one avid podcast listener for a long time to hopefully a lot of others that are avid podcast listeners. So you're doing the right thing, and it's going to pay off. And for sure. Well, I appreciate you, Jared, man. This has been awesome. Hit me on Twitter if you want to talk or join up in the conversation. My handle there is @Babcock_DPT. That's BABCOCK_DPT. You can hit me up on Instagram @UnchainedPhysio, where I put out a lot of my content and a lot of my documentation. I prefer video stuff, so that's where you'll find a lot of that. And Facebook @Mitch Babcock or whatever. But yeah, I'm more than open to chat with anybody. If I can help at some degree, large or small, it doesn't matter. Hit me up, let me help, because a lot of good people help me out along the way. So it's the least I can do to pass that along. My man, appreciate you. We'll see you.